So thank you so much. Welcome to A Little Coffee with Nando. Today we are in a different setting, and I have the honor to have a special guest. Today I'm doing a different dynamic of what have been done in the last podcast. Today we're gonna be talking a little bit different topic, and we're gonna be focused or talking about the issues or the challenges that the youth people is going through nowadays, and we're gonna be receiving from Pastor Danny some advices and tools for a daily basis practice. How you doing today, Pastor Danny?
Better than I deserve. Is that a good answer?
Absolutely, that's a great answer. Today we are in church Verdad and Amor, located in Sugarland, and we have a senior pastor here with us. He is American Argentinian, right?
Right. Christian first.
Chris, of course. So talk to us a little bit about you, Pastor. Where you born, who you are, so the people is watching us can know who is going to be sharing with us.
Sure. I was born in Buenos Aires, Argentina. So if something happens today and we are facing our Creator, my song is "Don't Cry for Me, Argentina." I came here when I was 18 to the city of Houston and remained here for the rest of my time here. And I was a Christian, and I wanted to be with Christians. I was the age of some of you here, 18, as I said, and God gave me the privilege of being part of this church from 1964. So wow. I've been part of this church since 1964.
How many years are that?
Well, that's about 62 years.
So you have definitely the experience we need to learn today. And I'm going to be starting with the time we have. I would like to just take advantage and start the questions I have. And I'm going to be talking with the first topic, which is on sex and purity. And this is a question. The church preaches purity, but how do we realistically address the prevalence of pornography among today's youth?
Well, number one, we have a fallen nature. We're all sinners. But we have different propensities. For some people, some areas of life are more delicate and more attractive than other areas. Some people, therefore, the call to purity is to protect us from the danger of whatever our propensity is as a human being. So, what the Bible teaches, and the best example is probably Daniel, who purposed in his heart not to be contaminated with the culture he was taken into. I wasn't taken into I came voluntarily, but he was forced, and he was told to adjust to the culture. And he didn't, because he purposed in his heart, when he was young, the age of the people in your audience today, he purposed in his heart not to be conformed to someone else's standards. So my advice is dare to be different. Dare to be different. It's not going to be easy. The culture is against you, but God can give you the strength to be pure in a filthy environment.
Okay, that's a very important statement, but I would like to know how you can make it, how you can practice that. How can I put that in practice Monday morning?
Well, God gave you will, so you decide what you watch. You decide what you listen. You decide who you go out with. You make those decisions, and the consequences will follow your decisions. So if you feed your tendency, you won't be able to get out of it. You will become addicted. And that's why it's so important to make to write down a line that you're not going to cross. I mean, that will keep you, if you prepare in advance, if that's your standard, you can face temptations as long as you feed your spiritual nature. How do you feed it? Well, with the Word of God, number one. That's that gives us the knowledge, the sensitivity. A life near to God, of prayer, not only reading, studying, commitment, prayer, and the fellowship, your friends. Who do you spend time with? Tell me who your friends are, and I'll tell you your future. Tell me who your friends are, the environment in which you live, and I can predict your future. Because the odds are you'll become one of them.
That is a very powerful statement, because I've learned that if you are with your friends you are with 5 people that maybe they are alcoholic, you will be the sixth. But if you are with people that have a righteous mentality, a holiness mentality, or loves God, you will be the sixth one. So the environment and relationships are very important.
Let me explain it another way. There was that nest, that egg that from an eagle that rolled through the side of the mountain and ended up with a chicken, with the turkeys. And he was born among the turkeys. And he couldn't fly because he grew up with the turkeys.
Thinking that he's a turkey.
Right. So you'll become one of them, just like you said.
Definitely. I do agree on that. What about what feeds my mind through my eyes and my ear? Is that very important, as you say, right? Today is crazy how social media, you can be bombed with so many sexual content. Ladies showing their bodies, guys same. Everything is sexualized, even advertisement from companies. So how the youth people can face or fight against this? What will be your advice?
Well, Jesus said that if your eye moves you to see things that you shouldn't see, just take your eyes off, okay? Obviously, that's figuratively.
Of course.
But you don't have to press and continue, because the algorithm will catch up with you. So the more you allow, the more you will get. So in essence, is stop at the front end. Don't click. Stay away. Delete the app. Be brave. You have to do those things to be able to stay away from something that's going to hurt you.
You know what? I heard that from an artist, that musician, and I'm like in the artists and these media, the entertainment media, and I heard from a singer that she is very famous, and she actually delete Instagram when she is on her daily basis. And when she got a post, because she's an artist, she's a public figure, so she got a post, history, posts, reels, video. She downloaded, post, and then deleted. I was like, wow, now you're saying that, I'm like having a flashback of that I saw in an interview. So that is a very powerful tool and advice for all of us. Now, talking about the money and finances topic, focus on the youth in their context. Is it realistic to ask a youth person to tithe when they can barely afford their basic cost of living?
So why don't you explain tithing, because some people may not understand the word.
Tithe, I would say, in the Bible, God is like a command to give the 10% of what you earn on the altar.
Right.
Right?
So I believe that it's the easiest way to get into God's plan, financial plan, when you are not making any money. It's a lot easier to give 10% of very little. I started parking cars, and at the end of the day, with another former pastor of this church, we were together parking cars. He was a waiter and I was parking attendant. And afterwards, we took our coins, because you were not tipped dollars, they were just coins.
Wow.
It was a lot easier to set aside 10% of $8,
Right.
$12, than $100,000. But if you start with little, it'll be easier. Not only that, there's power in obeying God and obeying His word. So when you're diligent with your finances and when you're responsible, and when you give part of what He gave you, you give back to Him, He will reward you. And I can tell you from experience that God doesn't owe anything to anybody. His promises are true. And if you want financial freedom, start giving God what is God's. And it's going to be to your advantage. For otherwise, He may give you 10 times of what you give Him. And it may not be enough if you give it little. So be smart. Start when you have very little, and test how good is God in rewarding your honesty, your integrity, and don't be a slave of credit. Be careful with credit cards. Start paying off if you owe money. Don't borrow money. Borrowing, it's like a drug. Borrowing is like a drug. You get addicted to it, number one. My mother died very young of a very painful sickness. And she had to take drugs at the end of her life because she couldn't stand the pain. So sometimes you have to borrow, but it's a drug. You have to be careful because you can become addicted to it. So don't be fooled by the importance of having good credit. It's important to have good credit, but be careful with borrowing money. You can go through school without borrowing money. You may have to work. I worked for 5 years while I was going to school, and I didn't have any debt at the end of my career. So, number one, be smart and give God what belongs to God, because the tithe belongs to God.
Amen.
So when you're taking from what He...
I'm sorry.
When you take what belongs to Him, what is that? When you take something that belongs to someone else, that's called what? Theft. Don't rob God. It's not a good deal. So be generous, and God will reward you very, very abundantly.
Now that you're talking about borrowing money, I would like to say or talk and ask you, because I have learned in finances that there is a good debt and a bad debt. Are you agree with that statement, or how would you think about that?
Okay. You buy a car, okay? A brand new car. The moment you take it out of the dealership, it's worth more or less. If you try to sell it, you're going to get less money. That's called depreciation. So if you borrow money to buy a car, every month it will cost you more because you're paying interest, and the car is worth less. So you're spending more to get less. So that's a bad debt. Now, if you buy something that will increase in value, for example, if you're going to live by yourself, you're going to have to either rent or own, right? If you rent, you're paying interest for someone else's investment. And eventually, the rent will go up and up and up. But if you buy a property at a good interest rate, you may borrow for something that will appreciate. So it's a good debt. If you borrow to buy something that will go up in value, but not for something that will go down in value, like furniture. Like, furniture is worth much less after you take it out of the showroom, like a car. So just borrow what you can afford. Buy what you can afford. And if you buy something that will appreciate in the future, then if you need to, borrow. But get out of debt as soon as you can, so that's freedom. That's freedom. Otherwise, you're a slave of the creditor. And that's what the Bible teaches, that the one that lends makes you a slave, financial slave, because you are tied to that person until you pay the debt off.
Correct. So I just want to clarify that, because I think that it's important to understand the differences, as you just explained to us. Not get a debt for something that depreciate, but instead for something that appreciate, and the value goes up with the time, right?
And you have to know the difference.
Correct. That is a financial education to learn.
Right.
How to use the money properly, right? Now, jumping in this topic on dating and relationships, which is something that I think that youth people is very important, because I used to be married 10 years. I'm alone for 3 years already. I'm a single dad. And I have learned that one of the most important decisions in life is with who you get married with, right? So this is a very important question. why does the church insist on not marrying non-believers, even though so many youth people are choosing to do so anyway?
Well, the relationship that will grow into a better relationship every day. I've been married 58 years.
Wow.
And part of the reason is she was part of the same church. She believed the same things I believed. So we both wanted to serve God. And so we were aligning our lives based on our values and core values. And that's why one of the important reasons why we've been married for 58 years, because
right.
we were aligned in our dreams, in our objectives.
One vision.
Right. Mm-hmm. So if you marry somebody that doesn't have the same values, there will be that tension, and eventually someone has to give, and most of the times you end up with not going to any church and don't worshiping anywhere, and then your descendants, your children, don't have the richness, the legacy that otherwise you could have given them. So it is important for your own happiness that you marry somebody that shares the same values that you do, and especially those that have to do with the heart, with the core values of
Correct.
who we are.
Because on my experience, I mean, I have seen, and I know you too, I mean, with all your experience, so many different type of relationships and personalities. And I have found friends, ladies and men, sometimes they have very, very good core values and better like more Christian values. Even then they don't go to church. There's people like have integrity and they have very high standards morally talking. And I found that sometimes people at church, not everybody, but most of the people that come to church, they have not given their heart 100% to God or bent their heart 100%. And I think that is a tricky belief that because the person goes to the church qualifies for me to be in a good relationship or get married. So I think that it's important to get to know in deep the person, even if you go to church, because you got to make sure that the person shares same core value, right?
Absolutely. The fact that you were born in a garage doesn't make you an automobile.
Right.
So the fact that you attend church doesn't mean that you're a Christian necessarily. So that's why I talked about core values and principles more than church attendance.
Correct.
Because it has to do with what you really believe and how that will help you in the relationship that you, but the most important thing is that you love each other.
Correct.
Now, when I hear, and I performed marriages, over 100 marriages for sure. And I heard many times, I love her with all my life, with all my strength. And I've heard her to say, I love him with all my heart. And most of the times what it really means is, I love myself, but I need her so I can be happy. So that's selfish love. That's me love. And that's not the love that the Bible teaches, because the love that the Bible teaches is giving, not getting. So much so that if you were to read the King James Version of the Bible in English, chapter 13 of the book of 1 Corinthians, it doesn't say love. That's the chapter that almost in every wedding is read. It doesn't say love. In our translation it says love, but it doesn't say love. Check it out. You know what it says?
What?
Charity.
Charity.
Charity. Because God's love, it's a love that gives, not a love that gets.
Oh, wow.
So if you love yourself and need someone to be happy with, that's dangerous. I bought a new car. It smells new. It makes me happy.
Right.
And I'm happy because I have a new car. 150,000 miles later, it has problems. It doesn't make me happy. So what do? I trade it in for a new model. And that's what happens in marriages.
Correct.
When she doesn't make me happy, I trade her in for a new model, thinking that will make me happy because I believed in the preamble of the Declaration of Independence of the United States that says that we have rights to life, to freedom, and the pursuit of happiness. Don't believe that. That's not a right. That it's a consequence of living a life that honors God. It is a satisfaction that is much higher than your own happiness. It's a satisfaction that has to do with pleasing God, and a satisfaction that it's far, as I said, above the superficial happiness of a new car or an event, etc. I don't know if I...
Definitely. I mean, with that example was a very clear example because that's what happens in the relationships actually. But that is a very deep statement because people, I think, nowadays have learned that the people to get involved in a very long-term relationship, they need to go in deep inside themselves and discover their traumas and discover and work what we need to heal in ourselves in order for us not to please ourselves, like you said, through this person, my need, my soul need, but instead I can take care of myself, be in charge of myself, and give love truly, like honestly, like I want to give her.
Because we don't understand what love is. And is it a love of yourself or love one another? And that's why it's so important to understand even the English words that are used in the scriptures, because there are 4 different terms for love. And sometimes we're all confused because finally is the love of ourselves, because the opposite of love is not hate, is selfishness. In relationships, what kills a relationship is selfishness. Just trying to be happy yourself, do it your way. And that's why it's so important to understand that true love is making someone else happy. It's a different kind of love. It's a different level of satisfaction. And it's much more lasting than happiness as we normally understand it.
Wow, that's such a great answer. And this is the last question, so we can start to close. How we can truly feel God's presence in a world that is so chaotic and filled with doubt?
Well, we're bombarded with stimuli, so images, sound, etc. Artificial intelligence one of the dangers of AI is that we're not going to think anymore. We're just getting answers so thinking, number one, being with someone you love, like God, if you love Him, and thinking on what the Word of God says about Him and what He says about you. Understanding Him and knowing Him. And that will be a lifelong project, knowing God. So how do you get to know someone you may want to establish a relationship with? You spend time.
Right.
So you spend time with God.
You feed that relationship, spending time.
And if you spend time with God, you'll get to know Him a lot better. So you have to set aside some time every day. Maybe even 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes. Spend time with Him, with His Word. His Word is His love letter to you. When I was in love with what became my wife, we were several thousand miles away.
Okay.
So I wrote letters to her. I wrote so many letters to her over 3 years that she almost married the mailman because she saw him every day. But the Bible is God's letter to you. So if you read it, analyze it, spend time with it. Don't try to read a lot. Try to read very small pieces and dissect them, analyze them, and learn who God is through His Word, and spend time with Him. That's very simple. It happens in all relationships of life, and it can happen with the most important one, our relationship with Him.
Absolutely. That's such a great answer. And well, with that, that would be the final question. I'm so glad we receive all those advices and tools from you, Pastor Danny Dominguez. I would like to invite you for another chapter in my personal space, in Spanish version. And I'm so glad that I could be doing this first totally English chapter with you. I'm honored to have you, that you can also open this space for me, for the opportunity. I think that is the purpose of this content and the channel is to give the people tools, advices, so they can achieve their relationship they want, the goals they have in their hearts, their dreams. And this could be a response or an answer from God to those people that are looking and needing an answer for God. So thank you very much, Pastor Danny Dominguez. Give it a hand, please.
Muchas gracias.
Honrado. I'm very honored to have you here. And yeah, please subscribe. The people are watching on YouTube. Please subscribe to the channel. Leave us a comment. Let us know where are you located, where you are watching us right now. We want to know about you. Turn on the bell. And yeah, just leave us a comment and share with the people you feel that is more convenient this information. God bless you and thank you for tuning us.